People are scary. If you thought my relationship with Easton was a little too idealistic, congratulations, you called it, you smart person, you. In actuality, I didn't know how to build or maintain a healthy relationship. None of my straight relationships had turned out so hot. Or, in one case, a little too hot. I had no experience dating a person whose mere presence stirred excitement in my stomach. I never could have expected to fall head over heels for the first man I dated and kissed. But I wanted to experience dating in general with people I liked for the first time in my life. Easton was on board with me getting to know myself. So, I continued using Tinder and dabbled with Grindr. Grindr was the baptism by fire in the gay community. I received messages in droves from people I had never met, most of whom had no profile pictures. The messages were of the caliber, Anonymous, hey. Or, Anonymous, let's fuck. Or, Anonymous, you're cute, any more pics? Even, Anonymous, I pay for sex, $150. And my favorite, Anonymous, knock knock. Me, who's there? Anonymous, I don't know. Me, sounds like a pretty serious identity crisis. Frightened by the underbelly of the gay community, I stopped using Grindr soon after downloading it. I continued to use Tinder, though. That seemed safe. Even before Easton, I had matched with a guy named Jackson, and he had messaged me every few days since. He wanted to go on a date. Easton and I weren't exclusive, so I agreed. Jackson took me to Cafe Zupa's. It's always a relief when people are cute like their profile pictures, Jackson said, smiling at me during dinner. Men on first dates give the dumbest compliments. Unsure about how to respond to this attempted flattery, I said thanks and bit into my sandwich. After Zupa's, Jackson drove us up Provo Canyon. Anxiety at his intent made me hesitate. Part of me wanted it to happen. I wanted to have this experience. He pulled off to the side of the road, and we kissed, our lips sliding over one another. His hand drifted down between my legs. I grabbed his hand to prevent him from pushing the situation further than I wanted to go. We continued kissing. I let go of his hand. His fingers returned instantly to my crotch. I grabbed his hand again, pulling it away. We ended up in the back with the back seat down, half in the trunk, half in the back seat. Jackson took off his shirt. It's getting a little hot in here. He was ridiculously fit. His tan had the unnatural tone of being sprayed on. I backed away, recognizing I was losing control of the situation. I don't want to have sex. He looked at me with a sincere expression. I don't want to push you further than you want to go. If you don't want to have sex, we won't. I watched him, surprised that he stopped. I might have preferred that he hadn't assumed, but unlike Claire, he stopped when I asked. We can still make out, though. He dropped me off an hour later. Easton texted me before bed. Easton, how was your date? Me. It was all right. I'm not sure how much I really liked him. Easton, I think it's a good experience for you to date people. Me. I know it is. Me. Hey, I should probably tell you that we made out at the end of the date. I'm really sorry. Easton, why are you sorry? Me. I feel like it wasn't very fair to you, plus I kind of feel dirty because it didn't really mean anything. Easton, I get it. You'll be okay though. Just learn and move on. I avoided texting Jackson for the next few months. Every few days, he would contact me. I ignored his texts and other social media messages. Ghosting was not something I could have ever seen myself doing, but 2 boys into gay dating, here I was. Easton and I continued seeing one another as before. We met almost every day. We'd do things like getting ice cream after a midterm, or eating dinner together. I went home one weekend and got wheedled into seeing the new James Bond movie, Spectre, with Mom. She had wanted to see it, and not having a good enough excuse to not, I agreed. I sent a picture of the poster to Easton with the caption, "Look what I'm seeing." His response was not a happy one. As I was driving back to Provo, I noticed a text from Easton. Easton. Hey, IDK when you'll be back down in Provo, but I'm super busy today with home teaching and homework, so it might have to be pretty short when we get together. Disappointed face emoji. Easton. And probably not until like 8 or so. Me. It's all good. You can just let me know what works. Easton. Okay. We met up after 10. I had arrived in Provo. It was Sunday evening. I drove to Easton's apartment and picked him up. How was your weekend? Easton asked. He seemed quiet. It was pretty good. I grimaced. Sorry to see Spectre without you. I know you wanted to see it. Easton shrugged, seeming to hug the door of my car. It's fine. I'll see it some other time. What else did you do? Not much, just a boring weekend at home. I cleared my throat. How was your weekend? Easton hesitated. I looked over at him. It was all right. What do you have going on tomorrow? I asked. Easton shrugged. Just a class at 1 and then a counseling appointment at 2. Like an academic counselor? I asked. It's for a few different reasons, but it's down in the counseling center in the Wilk. Just a regular counselor. Oh. Do you think it helps? It's been helpful to talk and get feedback on a few things. Easton shrugged. I like the BYU Center because they legally have to be confidential, so you can say anything without worrying about the Honor Code Office or your bishop. Huh. My voice caught. I may have to go in sometime. Easton's hollow eyes stared out my windshield into the hazy night, sliding past while I drove. I gotta tell you something. My heart sank. He had been quiet ever since getting into my car. We had driven through town and were headed back to his apartment. He was about to tell me he didn't want to date. I knew it. What's up? Over the weekend, I went on a date, and it turned into a hookup. I said nothing. I needed him to continue. His melancholic disposition since we had met up now made sense, and I searched for meaning in his words. I suspected he either wanted forgiveness or to date this other guy instead of me. His words alone would tell. It didn't mean anything, Easton said, rubbing his dry eyes. It started out as a back rub and sort of turned into a blowjob. I pulled off to the side of the road, less than a block away from Easton's apartment. Easton was still covering his face, almost as if he couldn't look at me. I'm really sorry. It's fine, I said too quickly. My mind was already focused on damage control. This was manageable if Easton still liked me. I had thought about not telling you and just kind of distancing myself from you, Easton continued. I guess I realized that wouldn't be fair to you. It's just frustrating because it meant nothing. What you and I have is so much deeper. I feel bad. I'd never seen him sit so slouched. Observing him, I had a moment of self-reflection. Our relationship could have ended here if I wanted. A clean break would have been so easy. And it might have simplified my life. But I wanted him in my life more than I had ever wanted anything. Thank you for telling me. I think you're a good person, and I want you to be happy. If you say that what we have is meaningful to you, then I believe you, and I'd like to keep seeing one another. Easton nodded. He looked relieved, but I could have misinterpreted his reaction. I guess I should let you get to bed. Easton nodded. Thanks for being awesome about this. I smiled. You're a great guy. Even though Easton and I parted ways on a positive note that night, I woke the next day with dread in my stomach. I couldn't ignore the suspicion that our relationship was imploding. I loved spending time with him, but felt unable to push our relationship forward. Every day, I would get out of bed and be filled with sick anxiety before Easton texted me. If he hadn't texted by the afternoon, I would convince myself that he hated me and never wanted to talk to me again. He consumed my every thought. I paced around my apartment most mornings, wondering when Easton would text me. The idea of texting him first was ludicrous, of course. I refused to let him know how obsessed I was with him. In the second week of November, I competed in a BYU dance competition at the silver level cha-cha. My partner and I advanced all the way to the quarterfinals before messing up on the timing and getting cut. That was disappointing, but my partner and I had never expected to get so far. Claire rushed to my apartment after the competition. "You were so good." She had filmed me and held out her phone with a video playing. "I didn't know you were such a good dancer." I shrugged all her compliments off, aware of her agenda. True to herself, Claire lamented my reluctance to date. Also true to herself, she proved challenging to exercise from my apartment, though admittedly I did not raise a Bible and shout, "The power of Christ compels you." "I have homework, Claire," I said for the 1,000th time. She had used my dancing as an excuse to get in the door. Now that she had me captive, she would set up camp and weather the storm. This wasn't the first time she had done this. 1 week prior, she had asked for a ride to campus and refused to get out of my car for 15 minutes, even though it made her late. She just smiled through desperate demands to get the hell out of my car and impassioned vows to never drive her anywhere again. I lay down in my entryway, too exhausted to yell at her and too frustrated to ignore her. Claire collapsed in the entryway beside me. The door opened and my roommate Wyatt walked in. "Oh, hey guys." "Hey," I said. Wyatt stepped over me and Claire in 2 bounds, heading to our room. I looked at Claire. "I need to get some things done, but you're still here." Claire lifted her head. "Okay, here's my plan. I'm going to kiss you, and then I'm going to get up and leave." Depression washed over me, and I slumped to the ground, closing my eyes. I would never be rid of her. "No!" A sob escaped Claire. She was sitting up now. I feared she would make good on kissing me. She didn't. She stood and left the apartment without a word.